Sir, I need you to step back. This is the 10th time today. The airport security guard's voice cracked with exhaustion as he faced the German Shepherd sitting motionless in Terminal C, Gate 47. 4 days. 4 entire days the dog had been there, positioned like a statue at the exact center of the international arrivals exit. Not near it, not beside it, precisely centered, as if someone had measured the spot with military precision. We're calling animal control in 1 hour if nobody claims him. The dog didn't flinch, didn't blink, just stared at the baggage claim door for Flight 2847 with an intensity that made passengers uncomfortable enough to walk around him in a wide arc. Some took photos, most just hurried past, pulling their suitcases a little faster, avoiding eye contact with those dark, unblinking eyes. But here's what nobody noticed, what nobody understood until it was too late. Flight 2847 hadn't operated in 3 weeks. Sarah Chen, the gate supervisor, reviewed the security footage for what felt like the 100th time. The timestamp showed 4:47 a.m. on Monday morning. The dog simply appeared on camera, walking through the automatic doors like he owned the place. No owner, no leash, no collar with identification tags. He walked straight to that spot, sat down, and stopped. Stopped moving, stopped eating, stopped responding to anything except that door. Has he moved at all? Her assistant manager leaned over her shoulder, squinting at the monitor. Only his eyes. Watch. They fast-forwarded through 72 hours of footage. Passengers came and went. Cleaning crews worked around him. Children tried to pet him, and parents pulled them back. But the dog remained frozen, swiveling his head only when that specific baggage door opened. Every single time it opened, his ears perked forward. His body tensed. And then, nothing. Disappointment washed over those canine features so clearly it was almost human. Almost. The hashtag started Tuesday afternoon. Dog waits at airport. By Wednesday morning, it had 40,000 shares. By Thursday, news vans circled the airport perimeter like vultures. Everyone wanted the story. The loyal dog waiting for his owner. The heartwarming reunion that would surely come. But they were asking the wrong questions. They should have been asking why a military-trained German Shepherd with a tattoo identification number inside his left ear was sitting at an airport with no record of arriving on any flight. They should have been asking why, when Animal Control finally scanned him, the microchip came back registered to a military K9 unit that officially reported him dead 6 months ago. They should have been asking why, in all those viral videos and photos, the dog never once looked at the arriving passengers. He was waiting for something else entirely. The first clue came from an elderly janitor named Robert who worked the graveyard shift. He'd been cleaning airports for 37 years and had seen plenty of lost pets. This wasn't that. Dogs got a routine, he told Sarah during her Friday morning rounds. Lost dogs pace, anxious dogs whine. Even well-trained dogs eventually give in and take water. But this one, he's not lost, ma'am. He's on duty. On duty? Robert nodded slowly, leaning on his mop handle. Military working dogs. I was a handler in Desert Storm. That's what they look like when they're waiting for orders. Problem is, I don't think his handler's coming. Sarah pulled up the archived security footage, scrolling back weeks, then months. Her finger froze on the pause button. There. 6 months ago. Gate 47, Flight 2847 from Frankfurt. The same dog walking through those exact doors, alongside a man in civilian clothes with military posture. Even through the grainy footage, you could see the bond. The dog stayed within 2 feet of the man's left leg without a leash, matching his pace perfectly. The man carried a single duffel bag and wore sunglasses despite being indoors. But it was his hands that caught Sarah's attention. They trembled slightly as he reached down to touch the dog's head. A brief moment of contact. Reassurance, maybe. Or goodbye. She zoomed in on the man's face, enhanced the image, and ran it through the airport's facial recognition database. Nothing. He deliberately avoided every camera angle except this one. Professional evasion. The kind taught in military survival training. The dog's name, according to the microchip, was Duke. The registered handler, Captain Marcus Reed, United States Army, 75th Ranger Regiment. Status, killed in action. Date of death, March 15th. Location, classified. Sarah printed the report and stared at the date. March 15th. That was 6 months ago. The exact same week Duke had walked through this airport with Marcus Reed. But the death certificate said Marcus died overseas, in combat. So how had his dog arrived at a civilian airport in Virginia with him? The pieces didn't fit. Worse, the pieces seemed deliberately scrambled. She called the military contact number listed on the microchip registration, an automated system. She left a message. 2 hours later, her phone rang from a blocked number. The voice was clipped, official, and carried the weight of someone used to giving orders. "This is Major Westbrook, military working dog liaison. You called about a stray German Shepherd?" "Not a stray, sir, Duke, registered to Captain Marcus Reed. He's been at our airport for 4 days waiting at—" "What gate?" The sharpness of the interruption made Sarah pause. "Gate 47, international arrivals." Silence stretched for 3 seconds. 4, 5. "Major Westbrook, do not approach the animal. Do not allow anyone to adopt or remove him. We're sending a team to collect him within 24 hours. "Sir, is there family we should contact? Someone who might—" "Captain Reed has no living family. The dog will be retired to a military facility. Do not speak to the media about this. Am I clear?" The line went dead. Sarah sat in her office, staring at her phone. Something about that conversation felt wrong. The urgency, the secrecy, the specific question about which gate. She pulled up Duke's photo on her computer. In every frame, those intelligent eyes stared at that door with unwavering focus. Not the kind of stare from a confused animal missing his owner. The kind of stare from a soldier watching a target. By Friday evening, the airport had erected barriers around Duke's position, citing safety concerns. But the barriers didn't move him. Security had to build them in a circle around where he sat, leaving him perfectly centered like an exhibit in a museum. The media circus intensified. Local news became national news. Someone started a GoFundMe to help the loyal dog. Offers to adopt Duke flooded in from across the country. A Hollywood producer called about film rights. And through it all, Duke didn't move. Didn't eat the gourmet dog food people brought. Didn't accept water. Just waited, staring at that door with the focus of something more than loyalty. Something like duty. Sarah worked late that night, unable to shake the feeling she was missing something crucial. She pulled every piece of footage she could find of Marcus Reed. There wasn't much. He'd passed through this airport exactly 3 times in the past 2 years, always alone except for Duke, always on flight 2847 from Frankfurt, always carrying that same duffel bag. But in the final video, from 6 months ago, there was a difference. Marcus had walked differently, slower, more careful. And when he'd stopped to touch Duke's head, the camera had caught something in his eyes despite the sunglasses. Not relief at being home, fear. Fear of what was waiting for him on this side of that door. Sarah's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Stop looking into Marcus Reed, for your own safety." Her blood went cold. She hadn't told anyone outside the airport staff what she was researching, which meant someone was watching. Someone who knew exactly what she was doing and wanted her to stop. She glanced at the security monitor. Duke remained in position, illuminated by the harsh fluorescent lights, surrounded by barriers and curious onlookers taking selfies. But in that moment, as she watched him on the grainy feed, Duke's head turned. Slowly, deliberately. He looked directly at the camera, directly at her, as if he could see through the lens, through the walls, into her office. And in those eyes, she saw something that made her understand why the military wanted him back so urgently. Duke wasn't waiting for his handler to come home. Duke was waiting for someone to find what his handler had hidden. The question that would haunt Sarah for weeks to come formed in her mind. as she watched that dog stare into the camera with chilling intelligence. What had Marcus Reed discovered that was worth dying for? And why was Duke willing to starve himself to make sure someone found it? The security footage timestamp blinked to 11:47 p.m. In exactly 5 hours, the military team would arrive to take Duke away. Whatever he was protecting, whatever he was trying to communicate, would disappear into classified silence. Unless someone figured out what he was really waiting for. Sarah grabbed her jacket and headed for the terminal. She had 5 hours to solve a puzzle that had gotten at least one soldier killed. 5 hours before the only witness was silenced. 5 hours before the truth was buried forever. But as she walked through the empty airport corridors, she couldn't shake one final terrifying thought. What if Marcus Reed hadn't been the only one? What if Duke wasn't the only dog? Her phone buzzed again. Same unknown number. This time, just 2 words. Stop now. Sarah Chen had never been good at following orders she didn't understand. She kept walking toward Gate 47, where a German shepherd sat waiting in the fluorescent glow, guarding a secret that someone very powerful desperately wanted to stay hidden. The terminal doors slid open with a pneumatic hiss. Duke's ears perked forward.
For the first time in 4 days, he stood up. He'd been waiting for her all along.